There's a lot to be said about what makes Nikola Jokic such a uniquely dominant force, like the fact that he's made 75% of his twos and 39% of his threes this season, or how he's on track to become the only player ever to lead the league in both rebounds and assists per game. For all of the gaudy numbers and record-setting feats though, what if I told you that his most valuable attribute was one that doesn't show up on a stat sheet at all? It's no secret that Jokic is one of the best three-point shooters we've ever seen from the center position. Since the beginning of last season, he's attempted almost 5 threes a game and hit them at a staggering 41% clip. Only 8 players have exceeded his marks in both volume and accuracy. While Jokic isn't quite as dynamic as the best shooters on the planet, he's still a pretty versatile three-point weapon. He's most dangerous when he's simply spotting up above the break as a catch-and-shoot threat, but you'll occasionally see him look for openings off of screens, whether that's while moving without the ball or initiating an inverted pick and roll. Of course, in the two-man game, he's typically the one screening, where he's a threat to pop out and hit the shot. Thanks to his size and high release point, he's able to comfortably get to these looks with volume and isn't really bothered by soft contests. This means that in order for defenses to prevent him from burning them with jumpers, a defender always has to be close enough to meaningfully get a hand up, which then means rim protectors are often pulled away from the basket, freeing up the paint for all sorts of opportunities. For years, teams have been trying to negate this spacing effect by taking their best paint defenders off of Jokic. The first and most famous example came from the Lakers in the 2023 Western Conference Finals, who put either Rui Hachimura or LeBron on him in hopes of unleashing Anthony Davis as a roamer behind the play. They quickly found out that letting Jokic consistently attack a mismatch creates an entirely different set of issues though, as he marked averages of about 28 points and 12 assists on 60% true shooting in a 4-game sweep. So the very next year, the Wolves expanded upon this concept with their double big units, putting Cat on Jokic and keeping Gobert behind the play in hopes of protecting the paint while continuing to meet him with size. Minnesota of course went on to win in 7 games, but after an offensive clinic from Joker, still averaging 29 points and 8 assists on 60% true shooting against a defense that almost seemed tailored to slow him down. Point being, if you're gonna take your big man off of him, it requires literally perfect personnel to execute. That's what we saw from OKC, who had the wings to pressure the ball, switch, and front the post, and the rim protectors to play cleanup, to which he still forced 7 games with averages of 28 points, 6 assists, and 59% true shooting. There's only one OKC though, and more times than not, the primary rim protector is gonna be the one guarding him. So going back to that outside shooting threat, this means the Nuggets start almost every possession with an open paint. From there, the offense runs through Jokic as a playmaking hub, where he'll exploit quite literally every single advantage. Sometimes it could be a simple mismatch. Gordon has a smaller defender, so he uses that open paint to seal off position in the low post for an easy catch and score. Typically, they're getting the ball to Jokic in the middle and setting up some sort of screening action, to which he's on a constant hunt for cutters. If he catches in the pinch post, they're often going to split cuts, with one of their wings setting a flare screen before slipping down the middle for a layup. You'll also see them use cross screens quite a bit, with a shooter curling over the top, but again, this is usually a decoy to free up the slip. Jokic's height allows him to see over the entire defense, so he always knows where help is going to come from, and he has unlimited access to any passing angle. Along with knowing where help's going to come from, he knows when it'll be there, whether or not it'll be late, and where the defense will open up. That's his superpower, anticipation. It's like he has a sixth sense that always allows him to be a step ahead of his opponent, which often turns Denver's offense into a layup line, just finding cutters over and over again. Not only does he see everything before it happens, he knows how to get the ball to the perfect spot. The Wolves do a good job of defending a cross screen, so Cam just cuts backdoor, and at this exact moment, Jokic recognizes that McDaniels is beat. So he goes behind his back to thread the needle with precision. Whenever his back is to the basket like this, the closer he gets to the paint, the more of a threat he becomes to score, and this is when defenses really have to pick their poison. Like I said, he's on a constant hunt for cutters. So as soon as defenses even think about sending extra help, the Nuggets are getting a layup. You'll notice that every movement he makes is meant to manipulate the help. As soon as Reith roams over to the strong side, he knows somebody's going to be open. By spinning baseline and looking at Brown, he draws help from the low man. Then he stares down the corner and releases the ball high to freeze this defender, leaving Watson with a wide open dunk. When I was growing up, I always loved collecting sports cards. There's nothing quite like the feeling of ripping open a new pack and seeing your favorite players. So that's why I'm super excited to tell you about today's sponsor, Arena Club. Arena Club is the future of card trading, allowing you to rip packs, buy, sell, or trade cards all in one marketplace. They're most known for being the original home of the slab packs, and you'll notice right now on the website that they've got a few special series going on for different quarterbacks. Under the slab packs tab though, you'll find their different tiers for baseball, basketball, football, and Pokemon cards. Me personally, I'm gonna go for this gold basketball pack because I think that looks right up my alley and I really want a chance to get this Grail Kobe Bryant. My favorite part about these packs though is the transparency, because you know exactly what each card in the pack is, what their grade is, and how likely you are to get them. So let's go ahead and rip this pack, man. I'm hoping for something good. They've got this really cool animation screen, and we got Cade Cunningham. We'll take it. Cade's coming off a huge game. He's having a huge start to the season. I think this is a rookie card. You'll see that they give me an immediate offer based on the market value of this Cade Cunningham, but I'm going to decide later because he's one of my favorite young players. And now he's added to my showroom where I can decide what to do with him. Do I want to set a price for someone to make me an offer? Do I want to put him up for auction? Or do I want to go back and accept Arena Club's offer of $270? Like I said, he's one of my favorite players, so I'm going to keep him in my showroom for now, but here's what the marketplace looks like. You'll see everything that's for sale, what you can make a bid on, and just build your collection out. And right now, you can get 20% off your first slab pack or card purchase by going to arenaclub.com/hoopvenue and using my code hoopvenue. And if you decide to rip open a pack of your own, let me know down in the comments what you got because I'm actually really curious. And if you pull a Nikola Jokic card, you're adding a player to your collection whose skill set makes it nearly impossible to scheme for the Nuggets offense. You can't run a zone because if he catches the ball in the middle of the floor, they'll get a good shot every single time. You can't double or send early help from the baseline because he'll instantly find the open cutter. Then when the Clippers made it a point of emphasis to take away all of his passing outlets by playing him one-on-one, he scored 52 points in 3 quarters. Another staple of Denver's offense is the two-man game. Jokic will set up handoffs or screen and roll action with any one of his teammates, which creates a similar set of issues. While he's obviously a threat to pop out and hit jumpers, he's actually most lethal as a scorer in the short roll. That's because his floater is the single most effective shot in basketball with unrivaled touch historically. In the last 4 seasons, he's made over 62% of his shots within 3 to 10 feet from the basket. Between that and the jump shooting, bigs just straight up don't want to leave him after he sets a screen, once again opening the paint for his teammates. In the event a big does leave him to play the ball, then help comes early to play the floater, he's right back to hunting for baseline cutters. The only way to prevent a Jokic handoff from creating an advantage is to deny the action altogether, although top blocking isn't really an option either. All that's to say, Jokic's most valuable attribute is the way he helps his team score in the paint. We've never seen a player with his combination of shooting, post scoring, and passing ability, and the result is a consistent presence in the middle of the floor who makes all 4 of his teammates a constant threat to get a layup. PlayByPlayStats.com has assist tracking data going back to the start of the 2001 season. Since then, we've seen some of NBA history's best interior passers, ranging from transition floor generals to pick and roll heavy lob maestros. In the last 25 years, though, only 3 players have ever finished a season averaging at least 6 assists at the rim every 75 possessions. Steve Nash became the first in 2007, then he actually did it again the very next year. Andre Miller joined him in 2012, then the third and final addition to the club came in 2017 from the MVP Russell Westbrook. That was until the beginning of this season because Jokic isn't just on pace to meet this criteria, he's on pace to crush it, currently averaging about 6.5 assists at the rim, the second most of any player on record. So Jokic has become the gold standard for gift wrapping layups and dunks to his teammates. But what makes his impact especially unique is how much value he can generate without ever touching the ball. I already talked about his gravity as a screener. Well, it's a similar effect when he's simply spacing the floor. Like I said, he's usually drawing the assignment of a primary rim protector, then those rim protectors refuse to leave him, so his ability to open up the paint is felt on quite literally every single possession. When you pair that effect with his own dominant interior scoring, the numbers paint a picture of someone who can single-handedly turn any cast of characters into the NBA's best offense. Here's a look at how every team has scored at the rim over the past 4 seasons. From left to right is what percentage of their shots are coming at the rim, and from top to bottom is how well they've converted. The Nuggets with Jokic on the court have been a complete outlier, standing alone as far and away the league's best interior offense. With him off the floor, they've been around the middle of the pack in frequency while converting at a near league worst level. Essentially, he's been the difference between the best interior scoring team and a well below average one. Of course, his impact on the interior is a culmination of his floor spacing, off-ball gravity, post-up presence, and all-time great passing, but the way he opens up the most efficient spot on the court for all of his teammates sets a ridiculously high floor for Denver's offense. The league average field goal percentage at the rim over this time has been at about 67%, while the Nuggets have been over 70%. So think about how much of a difference it makes over the course of a game to have a player who's just always going to create those shots at volume regardless of who's on the court or how the defense reacts. Now think about that player also doing the same for his teammates at the 3-point line while being the most efficient volume scorer in NBA history. That's Nikola Jokic, and here's what it looks like statistically. Since Jokic became an MVP level player, his signal for offensive impact is simply unmatched in the regular season. When he's on the court, the Nuggets are always one of the best offensive teams in basketball, and in a few seasons, one of the best we've ever seen. With him off the court, they've never even come close to league average, even now that they've added a ton of depth to their bench unit. Obviously, there's more to these numbers than one player, such as the supporting cast around him, lineup choices, and tons of other variables. But this is a huge sample consisting of multiple coaches, a wide variety of different teammates at each position, and plenty of injuries. Yet the one presence that's remained unchanged has been the man in the middle, the guy who seemingly solved basketball. So whether you want to point to his triple-double average, his unholy shooting from every single spot on the floor, his impact on his team's performance, or how easy he makes everything look, they'll all lead you to the same conclusion, that we're witnessing arguably the greatest offensive peak in the history of the NBA.